Now, one of the things that I think should have happened was the wingers should have dropped a little bit deeper. They were so high that a lot of the time when the back three had the ball, you just couldn't find them. And then the whole midfield is packed in, so there was nowhere really to play. All right, the Premier League season has begun. Chelsea drew 0-0 today against Crystal Palace. I thought overall this is a decent result. It was definitely fair. I don't think either team was better than the other. We did have chances to score late on to win the match and a few in the very early stages as well. But most of the rest of the game was pretty much a little bit of a chess match, a cat and mouse game, and we just weren't able to create enough meaningful opportunities to get the breakthrough. We'll take a look at what we did well, what we could have done better, and how we could have opened them up a little bit more, because this could be a blueprint for a lot of teams who want to try and stifle us in attack and hit us on the break. So what I'm going to do is just go over chronologically some clips from this game to dissect what was good and what really could have been changed to have more of an impact and create more chances to score goals. So welcome to the Chelsea Campfire. I'm Sebastian North. Please let me know in the comment section, do we need to go and get another center back? Also, Garnacho and Xavi Simons. It seems like those deals really might get over the line in the next couple weeks. Do we need them? Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and please subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let's do our first tactical breakdown of the Premier League season. Okay, so we know that Maresca likes to build out with a back three, and Cucurella inverts into midfield. So the back three here was Chalobah as the left-sided center back, Josh Achampong starting at central center back, and Reece James on the right. Then you had Caicedo as the 6, Cole Palmer as the 10, Cucurella becoming the left-sided 8 while Enzo Fernandez was on the right, and then out wide you had Pedro Neto on the right wing, Gittins on the left wing, and Joao Pedro up front. So it basically creates like a 3-4-3 with a diamond midfield, and basically the idea is, can we move the other team around to try and see if we can find Palmer or Cucurella or Enzo Fernandez, and then they can get the ball forward into the wingers who can penetrate and push on. Now, if you look at Crystal Palace, they basically had a front three of Eze on the left side, Mateta, and then Sarr, and then behind them you had Adam Wharton and Will Hughes, who were basically tasked with kind of sticking with anyone they could, but really plugging up the middle, making sure that no balls went into Cole Palmer. And Crystal Palace were just trying to create turnovers and counter quickly. They did very, very little actual building possession themselves. Now, what you can see here is Josh Achampong, he had a really interesting job. When Mateta would go press him, he would actually be tasked with sort of dribbling through, cutting him out, and that would create a little bit of a destabilization. Here you can see Adam Wharton going and pressing on the ball. Will Hughes has to drop to get closer to Palmer, and that leaves Enzo Fernandez wide open. Ball goes to him, and now Chelsea can penetrate. But when we broke these lines, we were able to get through and create some opportunities. Here's another example. Ball comes into Reece James. Now you can see that Crystal Palace press, those 5 players. Eberechiezi cutting off the ball out to Enzo Fernandez. But here you can see Mateta running forward to make sure the ball doesn't get to Achampong. And that actually leaves a little hole because Sarr is more concerned right there with Chalobah. They see an opportunity to press and try and win the ball, but Cucurella, weak side, wide open. Munoz now has to go run towards him, and guess who's open? Gittins is. So Cucurella drops the ball back. It goes to Chalobah, out to Gittins, and he can start running. I think this was really good. Gittins drives forward, gets a corner kick from Richards, and now we have the first set piece of the match. And there's something interesting that Enzo Maresca has definitely chosen to do on these corner kicks. Cucurella is standing right inside the 6-yard box. Ball goes near post right to him, and he's trying to get a flick on for someone at the back post. Here, the ball almost goes in. Sarr heads it away. We end up with another corner kick on the far side. Same thing. This time, left-footed in-swinger from Neto. It's a pretty good ball. Cucurella wins it again. This time, there's a little bit of a push in the back of Enzo Fernandez. VAR checked this, decided it was not a foul. It is a two-handed push in the back. On another day, maybe we get the penalty there. We didn't get that one. And then I think we started to see some issues. So you saw those two initial build-outs where Achampong found Enzo Fernandez, and then when Reece James found Cucurella. That was good, but this was also a trap that Crystal Palace were setting. They were hoping that we would do this, and once they figured out that that's where we wanted the ball to go, they just started reading those passes a little bit earlier. So Achampong gets this ball here, and you can see Enzo Fernandez wide open in that space, but Will Hughes is starting to cut that off. Eze is getting close enough to Reece James that the ball won't go to him, and so he knows when Achampong picks his head up, you can see he adjusts, ball gets sent into him. And this was the very first mistake of the match from Chelsea. 10 minutes, everything had been fully clean, but then we turned the ball over. And what it led to was actually Crystal Palace's opening goal that was disallowed. So they get the ball out here to Munoz, he crosses it. Eze at the top of the box is able to wriggle around 2 players, 3 players. That's not really good defending. defending. The ball lands to Will Hughes. Cucurella goes in, gets called for the foul, free kick. And we know what happened after that. Eze smashes it home, but because Mark Gahey pushed Caicedo inside and actually got too close to the wall, the goal was disallowed. It felt like we got away with one, but also it's the rules, so it was the right call. Problem was that there was another turnover a little bit later, and that's when the game started to get a little bit touchy and edgy. There were some fouls, there were some moments where people were down, so there was no flow at this point. And that first 10 minutes where we were really under control really started to disappear. Now, one of the things that I thought we needed to do once we saw that Crystal Palace were happy to do this, have this group of 5, and also take a look at Chris Richards, the center back. He's now pushed all the way up to Palmer, right? Because they have 2 other center backs to cover up on Joao Pedro, then they have their wing backs to cover on the wingers. So where is their space? Well, it's just in this wide area. Cucurella, he doesn't need to be in there. If he comes out a little further, then this is not just so utterly condensed. So Acheampong gets the ball, goes to Reece James. We're trying to find a way through. Now Palace can step a little higher and see if they can force a mistake. And as this ball goes to Chalobah, he looks up and he's trying to see, can he find someone in the middle? And I know he's trying to get the ball into Caicedo, but I actually think the switch out to either Pedro Neto or to Enzo Fernandez would be a better idea. The ball's almost good, but it needs to be absolutely perfect in that part of the field. We turn it over, and we're lucky here. Crystal Palace really didn't make anything of that attack. Now, one of the things that I think should have happened was the wingers should have dropped a little bit deeper. They were so high that a lot of the time when the back 3 had the ball, you just couldn't find them, and then the whole midfield is packed in, so there was nowhere really to play. But if Pedro Neto could drop a little bit and receive balls directly from Reece James like this, what happens? Well, you pull someone out of the back line, and then you've got tricky, good wingers who are fast on the ball, like Pedro Neto. He's able to just shimmy right here, get away from Tyreek Mitchell, and now the whole entire Crystal Palace team is just destabilized. And now Cucurella is wide open. There's basically a 2v1 here. He gives it to Gittins. I would have really liked to see Gittins use this overlap by Cucurella. Instead, he sort of cuts in, almost loses the ball, and now Crystal Palace are back and they're in a good shape that they want to be in. So this was a successful attempt at going right through all the numbers. It didn't happen often, but this is actually why Caicedo is so good. So Chalobah gets the ball here, plays it inside, square ball. I really didn't like that. I was like, what are we doing? But Caicedo is brilliant. Look at this pass. I mean, right through, splitting into Cole Palmer. And look, when you play a ball into him, even on the bounce like that, he's just got so much quality. He's able to turn, plays the ball into Pedro, and now we are away. Look at Cucurella here. I mean, if this ball had just been thread through right at this moment into Cucurella's feet, he's got a breakaway. But it goes out to Gittins, plays it back to Palmer, who tries something a little audacious. But around this point in the game, things slowed down, and Palace were feeling better, and you could tell there was a little bit of tension and a lack of fluidity starting to build. So, you know, we've got these 3 here. There's 5 Crystal Palace players just packed in the middle. Gahey and Chris Richards were coming out to press on the rest of the Chelsea midfielders. There was just nowhere to go. So how do you deal with this? Well, in my opinion, you got to go side to side a lot more. And so when Chalobah gets the ball here, it's just play it to Gittins, right? Gittins is 1v1. I'm not saying he's going to turn and just beat the defender every time, but at least it shifts the Crystal Palace players over. And there were so few times that we did this in the opening part of the game that we just didn't see what they would actually do. Every time you can see Eze there dropping in, cutting off the ball to Enzo Fernandez. So where would be the ball? Well, if Pedro Neto can drop back, then he could possibly receive it. And then Enzo Fernandez could come inside, make a run in behind, something like that. But you could see here, it was all getting slow and a little bit stale. And then you've got a mistake like that. Ball goes into someone's feet, they play it out. The Crystal Palace fans start singing. Our crowd in the ground starts to get nervous and the tension goes everywhere. Now for me, it was all about, can you find both wingers in a possession? Get Crystal Palace running side to side. So here, Gittins gets the ball and we finally find out what happens when the wingers get the ball. This is Sarr dropping all the way in. So there's 2 on 1 player here. This means that we're creating some overloads. Now Chalobah picks his head up and look at Tyreek Mitchell. He is actually stepping up on Enzo Fernandez. That means Pedro Neto wide open on the far side. The ball from Chalobah a little bit too high. I think Pedro Neto should have gone towards it and taken it down. Instead he lets it bounce and it goes over him and out of play. But that was what we wanted to do. And then in the second half, here's a clear example of that again. Cole Palmer overhits the ball to Gittins, so he couldn't come inside. So he brings it back out, plays it to Cucurella, drops it to him, and Gittins plays it back to Chalobah. Now, as the ball comes out to Caicedo and then James, instead of sort of turning back in and keep recycling around the back, he does the no-brainer, simple decision of right into Pedro Neto. And once again, Pedro Neto does not get left alone with Tyreek Mitchell. Eze comes over to him. And again, that just leaves this center back on this side wide open. And now Reece James is able to advance. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, he's not able to whip this ball in because we've got 5 in the box. There's also this run here by Caicedo. If he actually makes a darting run right into this space, Reece James can play the split. That is something I would have liked to see. And instead, we kind of get fused out because we didn't make that penetrating pass when there was the option. But going side to side was how we were going to break them down. And that will be the case in many games throughout the rest of the season. So look, I mentioned Josh Achampong. I thought he did a really good job defending Mateta all day. And Mateta is a big, strong guy. I mean, really, this kid is turning into a proper player. I love the way that he can carry the ball past players, get inside. Look at the way he just waits for 3 players to collapse on him, finds the split out to Pedro Neto. And once again, 2 players go to mark the winger. It means a center back on this near side is open. Chalobah goes all the way forward, picks his head up to see who he can cross to, and we've got 3 runners. We've got Enzo making that late run. We've seen him score headers from there. Joao Pedro scored a goal against AC Milan doing the exact same thing, and that ball is very, very good. Just unlucky that it just misses our 2 players, gets headed out for a corner. And at this period of the game, we actually had some really good pressure and some very dangerous balls. Yes, they didn't result in shots on target, so the stats don't look great. But Reece James here, the ball to Enzo Fernandez not cut out because after a while, Crystal Palace were going to start leaving holes. Enzo Fernandez plays the ball into Joao Pedro, keeps his run going, gets the return. Crystal Palace all sucking into the middle of the pitch. That means there's space out wide. Pedro Neto cuts it onto his right. This is another very good ball to the back post. This is inches away from it being Joao Pedro getting the header. Instead, it gets cleared away, but we were looking pretty good. And then we had 2 really big chances. Pedro Neto driving forward, cuts back. The split from Pedro Neto's fantastic. Palmer crosses it and it lands at the feet of Estevao. But he tries to take it down with his waist. It goes away from goal. This is about where Pedro Neto should be the one running in to hit it. But look, young man thought he could score, leaning back, hits it over the target. Not a very good effort. And then Andre Santos' chance. So Achampong plays Trevor Chalobah, and this is a really nice run from Delap. Gets himself onside, runs in behind. It's a great ball, and he does very well here to bring it down and just actually lay it into the path of Cucurella. His ball gets played across, and this is a fantastic opportunity for Andre Santos. Scoops it way over the bar, and the chance goes begging. And so it ends 0-0, and we pick up a point. Really wasn't that bad, and I think we have to think about Liverpool. We're up 2-0 at home and surrender 2 goals, and it wasn't for a late flurry that they ended up winning 4-2. Arsenal really didn't play very well against Man United. I actually thought Man United had far better chances, probably should have equalized the game. Man City looked utterly dominant against Wolves. Come on, you can't tell me that we're very far behind any of these teams. Crystal Palace are a good side. Don't forget, their previous 2 matches, they won 2 trophies. They beat Man City in the FA Cup final and just beat Liverpool in the Charity Shield. So to draw against this side, it's not great, but it's really not that bad. So we'll see how the transfer window closes. Once again, let me know what you think. Do we need Xavi Simons? Do we need Garnacho? Do we need a replacement for Levi Colwill? I'm not sure. I thought Josh Achampong did really well today, but if Tosin's injured and then maybe Chalobah gets injured, then we're all of a sudden very light in defense. So, I don't know. I personally think it'd be great to see someone else brought in, but maybe not a giant big money signing. Mark Guehi's available for 30 million. I do think that would be worth it. But tell me what you think. Love to hear it. Subscribe to the channel. I'm Sebastian North. This is the Chelsea Campfire. Take it easy.